Hello, welcome to my presentation. My name is Pat Volk, and today's presentation is going to be about does spirituality affect our health? And if it does affect our health, how? Um, so that's the nature of this presentation, the subject matter. Um, so just a brief bit of history about me and my motivation behind this study. Um, I was raised in a Catholic family and had normal beliefs about God and spirituality. Or I was raised, to believe that God is in heaven caring for us and Jesus loves us, and I believed all that. But unfortunately, due to my life experiences and my family, I became an atheist. And I remained an atheist until about the age of 45 when I was divorced. Met a therapist, highly spiritual individual, taught me to meditate. During a meditation, I had an epiphany. And from that watershed moment in my life, when I had a new spirituality, then my health improved. Especially, I noticed an example is I went to my dentist, and well, a year later, and he said that your teeth are better than I've ever seen them before. And I said I haven't changed anything, and I told him about my spiritual awakening, and he did not believe that they were related, but I did. So this is the prompting for my study. So how did I go about this? My method was to do a qualitative study um, with 3 respondents. The qualitative interviews, there were 3, as I said. I sought data using open-ended questions. Those interviews lasted from 45 minutes to an hour and a half and were recruited from people I know. The demographics were 2 men and 1 woman aged 21 to 54. Their backgrounds were or consisted of white, mixed race, labor level education, college education. All were born in the US. 2 of them were well traveled internationally and had been exposed to many different religions and practices and peoples of the world. One of them had spent a year as a missionary in South America. So, what were the limitations and biases associated with the study? Well, the sample size was small. The time was relatively short as far as interviews. COVID virus um, prevented us from having one-on-one meetings, so that was a little bit disconnective. Um, Again, I mentioned the limitations as far as travel. Then one of them was a Mormon, and so this person had, I guess, a limited worldview. I would say it that way. I like this picture because it doesn't really matter how we connect with the other. As long as we're trying, I think it's a good thing. So my research included individuals from or information from peer-reviewed journals, names Koenig, Doster, Mongolian, Muenya, and Schneiderman. So what were the findings of my study? Well, one of the individuals identified as Christian. A second individual identified as Christian as well, though they were both quite different in their definition of Christianity, as I will get to in a moment. The third respondent identified with a mixed combination of non-Western ideologies. The first Christian stated, God became a man named Jesus Christ. He lived a perfect, sinless life for 33 years and died to terminate everything negative in the universe. Christian 2 stated that his belief system was defined as follows. God, the Father of Jesus Christ, had spirit children that wanted to have a body, and so he created an earth where human beings could live. God had children with an immortal Adam and immortal wife. Once having sinned by eating the forbidden fruit, the immortal children lost their immortality. Their offspring was also therefore mortal. The spirit children who follow Jesus get to be resurrected and go back to heaven. The respondent who identified with mixed non-Western ideologies said that their belief system was as follows. There's an underlying and overarching energy in the universe that connects everything and everyone and emanates through us. Not necessarily a God, but that there are universal truths. I think that every person's belief is rooted in the same underlying thing, except for atheists. When asked about the purpose and characteristics of their belief system, the first Christian said that God is the creator of the universe, the sanctifying spirit to enlighten people concerning their need for God. God is the loving Father to receive the repentant sinners, and is the ascended Christ administering the world situation and the daily lives of all men, that they might seek after him and upon believing into him would be brought into the genuine church life and be built up together into the body of Christ to express him and represent him on earth. He is also the unique person of the church and the husband to whom the church will be married. The church consists of the regenerated, which are the people in whom Christ lives. The second Christian stated that his purpose, or the purpose and characteristics of his Christianity, are as follows. The role of Jesus Christ is to bring us into the presence of his God, which is his Father, and redeem us, bring us back to our family, our heavenly home, to our spirit Father, who is God. God's role is to provide for us an experience on earth in a body, allowing us to have the freedom of making good, bad choices and learning from our own experiences what kind of choices we want to continue to make. God is also to communicate the way home. The mixed combination ideology stated, I don't believe that there is a God or gods, but you could equate their function to energy, the universe, Mother Nature, and existence. These equate because they contain everything and are part of everything and have always existed. Energy flows through and from everything. Existence is what causes everything to happen. In terms of the responses pertaining to the significance of their belief systems, the first Christian said, it is a meaning of my and purpose of my life. I try to and am endeavoring to advance in my enjoyment of Christ at every moment throughout my day. and I spend time praying and fellowshipping with other believers frequently throughout the week. The second Christian said, my faith in God has cheered me up in very difficult times. I have a prophet of God living, giving me counsel and comfort amongst the midst of the storm of a fearful world. I have a connection with a highly spiritual man that helps me connect with God. The mixed combination respondent stated, the amount of time that I'm willing to invest in my practice, the more significant it becomes. The more I spend time doing exercises, yoga, art, sitting with myself, dancing, meditating, and being present, all these help me to be more present and engaged, making it more significant. My practice helps me figure out what I want and don't want in my life, and accepting that, like figuring out what serves me and what betters me and what hurts me. In terms of how they rated their health, Christian 1 stated that my physical and mental health is excellent compared to my peers. My physical health is in normal range. My mental health is probably significantly better than most of my peers, physically as an indirect result of my belief system and emotionally as a direct result. So in other words, indirectly he was physically better, but directly emotionally better. The second Christian said, my beliefs really helped my health because my career, marriage, and divorce had been really stressful. But my spirituality made me feel happier, healthier, and less depressed than I would have felt if I didn't have these experiences of my faith in God. I believe this positively affected my physical health. I feel above average in my physical and mental health. The mixed combination respondent said, I think that physically my health is pretty good, probably about the same as my peers. I think that my mental health is okay, probably worse than my peers. I think that being more in touch with my spirituality does promote my physical and mental health because it stimulates me to do the things that help them more and not to do the things that hurt me as much. When asked if they had ever been healed as a consequence of their spiritual practice, Christian 1 said, yes, I have grown more in my faith and beliefs. As I have grown more in my faith and beliefs, many things that were big problems for me, such as hopelessness and anxiety and a damaging lifestyle, were gradually healed. Christian 2 said, yes, about a week and a half ago, I was feeling guilt and shame for for things I should not have been doing. While on a hike, I prayed for forgiveness. It was my first time to have hiked in this area. I said to God, I believe you'll let me know, but right now I don't feel forgiven. But then the clouds broke on my hike and the sun shone through and warmed me in that moment. I took this as a sign that I was healed and forgiven. I believe that God heard me and he smiled on me. And that morning I have prayed that God shine upon me and bring me peace. It was on that day that I so happened to hike. I strongly connect all that and believe that God has indeed forgiven me, and I don't feel guilt and shame about it anymore. The mixed combination respondent stated, I felt healed when I started taking dance classes, which healed a lot of the insecurities I had about my body and helped me connect with it and enjoying being in it and also to connect with it on a spiritual level. I think that there's a lot of ancestral knowledge in our bodies and a lot of ancient wisdom that our brain has difficulty connecting with, i.e., it's one thing to think something and another to feel something. I think that dancing helps me connect with the ancient wisdom through feelings and also then to express that wisdom, which the brain can't identify correctly or at all. So let's talk about the significance of the findings. Whether a spiritual practice has emotional and physical benefits let us consider, or one needs to consider, how, what, and why. How does one practice? What does one practice? Why does one practice? So based upon the respondent information, I gathered these coded data and came up with the following. In terms of how does one practice? Frequency seems to be important. In other words, more is better. Focused effort, focusing on one's practice. And then in terms of technique, it is unique and individual. In other words, one, according to this study, one need not follow any particular method of spiritual practice to receive benefit. What does one practice? The coding response, coding data about these respondents is as follows. Specific religion is not important. It should be something that feels connected. And furthermore, tradition is not important. This study, each of the respondents had a different spiritual practice than that of their family of origin. And then why? Why does one practice? Clearly, to feel good, to feel better, to get help, and to solve problems and gain wisdom. So why is this important? In the grand scheme of the universe, why is this study important? Existence as humans is bewildering and often frightening. We need all the help we can get. Fear has and continues to rule that which occurs on earth. The guiding principle should change to unconditional love of self and other. Divine wisdom can help achieve that. Emotional unhealth leads to all the bad things that occur at the hands of humans. It would be good to minimize that with divine help. Physical health is important and very expensive to recover. Praying and believing is free. If we can improve our physical health by praying and believing, we'd save a lot of money. This concludes my presentation. I hope you have a wonderful day.